I'm back. Let's go. Welcome to Last Chance Q with myself, Coach JB, and Sean Salisbury.
We will not talk over the amateur or under the expert.
It's not only the X's and O's, but it's about the Jimmys and Joes.
And it's not just quarterback. We got all the positions, teaching, coaching, laughing, and joking.
We're using football terminology so we can get through this faster than we don't want to use these long terms, Coach. We got quick verbiage to get to the point. Last Chance Q with the great legendary Sean Salisbury. What up, what up, what up? We are back in the building. It's a Sunday Fun Day NFL pregame show with all the bets, all the picks. Our main man, Sean Salisbury, Jeff Nadu. Appreciate you guys joining me. Real quick, gentlemen, Jeff, Sean, I ain't been able to talk to you. I hope you're better. Everyone gave you T's and P's last week. I hope you weren't out there just, bullshit.
Oh, man, I had good to see you guys. For about 6 weeks, I'd been feeling like a slug. And I'm, you know me, dude. I'm never sluggish, man.
You say slut? Slut?
No, sluggish. Okay.
Oh, I thought you said a slut.
No, not a slut. Well, if I was going to do that, I wouldn't just do it for 6 weeks. Okay. But I was just not feeling the same and still on the grind. And then I could, the old tightening in the upper ab, and it wasn't doing from sit-ups. So I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Went in, they took a CAT scan and everything for about 6 hours of the damn thing. And I'm 100% healthy, except the fact that I had pneumonia. Now, who gets pneumonia? That sounds like an old man. Is that like an old man thing? Is that what that is?
I got it. They thought I had it.
Dog. Yeah,
they thought I had it, but they said my balls were just hitting the toilet water too much.
Yeah, well, that's again when an old man, they're hanging down to your ankles. I'm not
like
sure you should be proud of those clackers that you got going on down there dangling. So.
Hey, Sean, Jeff knows I haven't been able to talk to you. I only got about 10 minutes, and I got to take Callie to get surgery on her ACL. It's only going to cost me like $4,000, but I got my dog, man. You know, you're a pit bull owner like myself. She blew out her left ACL, and I think she may be leaning on blowing out her right one because of compensation. So I'm taking her in right here. I got to have her in by 9, and then they give her surgery all day, and then I got to pick her up later tonight or in the morning. So you and Jeff got it. Bailey's behind the scenes running the show, so whatever you guys need. But let's get it going. I know Jeff last week, in lieu of Sean missing, was virtually undefeated in the first slate on the first block of the 10 a.m., 1 p.m. slate on the East Coast and the West Coast, respectively. Jeff didn't miss. I missed one, Sean. I missed the Texans game against a upstart Vikings with Sam Darnold. But we're going to get right into these deals, and then you guys can rip it up when I leave. But it's an interesting slate. Real quick, I know Jeff probably wanted to talk about the 2 Monday night games that he loves so much. What the fuck do we do with 2 Monday night games that cross over each other every single week? I don't understand 2 Monday night games.
Yeah, I don't have an issue. I like that there's 2 Monday night games, but why are they at like the same time? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, you're just kind of fighting yourself. No, look, the NFL is going to make out because people are going to watch them either 1 or 2, but yeah, why not put one at like, I don't know, 5 and 8? Just very bizarre. I don't get it.
You know why it's a Monday? They're forcing a square peg into a round hole, right, Sean? It's a Monday night, so they can't go 8 and 5 because 8 on the West would be 11 on the East. I don't think they would do it. And again, why are you fighting it? And then this week's slate, a couple of them are going to leave, and I think the Jets and the Vikings head overseas. I think they're playing next week, so we won't be able to cover that game. Just a heads up, we wouldn't be able to cover that game. When we start the show next week, that game will probably be around third quarter.
Yeah, 9:30, I think it starts.
FYI. Hey, real quick,
two Monday night games are fine, but they need to be staggered. It's silly, but regardless. So
yeah,
I got more than one TV, so I can watch them both.
That's how I feel.
It's stupid.
I'll tell you this, me and Sean Salisbury are going to deliver. Okay. I got a lot of thoughts in these games today, and I'm very excited. So I'm just putting that out there. I like this card. So Sean, let's see what we can do.
Jeff, it's all yours, brother. I'll tee you up and let you go.
Hey, Sean, before I get out of here, Sean, over the first couple weeks, your biggest takeaways from the NFL and your biggest, shocks or shockers. I'm sure it's quarterback play, but What is your biggest takeaways right now? Team record-wise, player performance-wise. What do you think about your biggest takeaways today?
Well, there's so many of them. Just a couple. It's not just quarterback play. I think offensive play has been, for me, it just we're still in training camp mode offensively. They'll catch up eventually, but defenses are always ahead. I am mystified at how bad that Trevor Lawrence has not gotten better. Ooh. And I championed his cause since he came out of school. And I'm hoping I'm not wrong, but I don't see their elevation. You know, those guys take it to another level. Trevor Lawrence is right now just a guy. And the way they're playing football, and there's a lot like it, I think
he does play for the Jags. He does play for the Jags. Just another guy.
There you go. Yeah, and no pun intended by me, but I'm with you. The Bengals, they've been close in a couple. That's not good enough, but this is typical of their start. I expect them to turn it around. On the good side, that Josh Allen's playing incredible football. The guy is, considering when most of us said that this is a different team than we're used to. But offensive performance, I mean, we can go up and down this whole thing. It's just, how often are we getting two great games from the same team back-to-back weeks? We're just not. I mean, Buffalo's played well, but we're not.
Minnesota.
And that's the one. I go on in Minnesota every Thursday, and they're real because they're playing good defense. They protecting the passer, and Sam's not turning it over. So when you do that, they are. And I can't wait till this Green Bay Minnesota game today. I'm pumped for it. So we'll see how Jordan Love responds. I mean, I'm assuming
Jeff. Is he full go?
I don't know. It was a game time decision, but
I don't know if you can find Dr. Morse's injuries or find an injury list. Maybe we'll pull it up. I'm sure.
So, those are mine. There's plenty more, but I think
one thing that I'm noticing in the gambling side of things, that's really typical of what we generally see. The totals in these games, it's rare anymore to see a total above 45, 46. And that, again, goes to scoring. A lot of officials taking games over. I mean, there are games where every other play is a flag. There's no there's no flow to these games at all, really. Quarterback play leads into that. But the average total is around 41 now. It's rare you see a total at 48, 49, 50. You have one today. That's it.
I got my biggest shocker of the year is the way the NFL is addressing the injuries versus the suspensions that are apparently by targeting repeat offenders or what have you. They're taking calls, Sean, from other teams' players, and they get a vote on if a guy should be suspended or not. What in the fuck are we doing? I've never heard of this thing. Like Derwin James is suspended for what I call a bang-bang football play that last I checked, we wear helmets and pads in football, and that's what we hit with. And he hits a bang-bang play. They suspend him because the fact that the player from the opposing team agreed and said he should be suspended. Now, I'm trying to figure out how the fuck this is supposed to work and when did this become a thing? And I'm just trying to figure out, does Kelsey in the DFS side, does he go absolutely ballistic today with no Derwin James, a hurt Bosa, no O-line for Herbert? This is a banged-up Chargers team going into the Chiefs' queendom. This is going to be interesting. I don't get it. I'm shocked about this.
And he hasn't exploded yet. Neither has their offense, quite frankly.
Ironic they to suspend him. Go ahead.
One other thing, they also have a bye next week. And I'm going to talk about this when we get to this game. This could mean that if this is, let's say this is 21-0 at half, they may take a business decision and say, we're just going to run the football. That's what they do anyway, the Chargers. You got a bye next week. You get Herbert healthy. And remember, last week, that offense did nothing against a good defense. And look, the Chiefs are a better run defense than we expect. I think that's a good under game, which I'll talk about. But yeah, that's something you want to keep an eye on if you're going to look into betting the Chargers.
I stay away from that game, Jeff. I stay away personally.
Player empowerment to decide if opposing player gets suspended or flag. Are you kidding me?
It's fucking unbelievable.
I mean, are we afraid of our own shadow to make a decision because we're going to hurt somebody's feelings now?
Hey, if you got
the pussification of the stuff we do, man.
You guys look at that ticker below, just real quick, not to interrupt Sean. That's the pretty much going right now. The green means go, red is out, etc. So you can read that for yourself. Sean, I don't know. I don't get it, man. It's unbelievable to me. Like, so players are now saying, oh, he's too hard, too rough. What the fuck are we doing? Put a helmet condom on, you fuck. Let's dive into this first slate real quick, guys. So before I get out of here in about 4 minutes, Bailey, you can pull it up. The early morning slates. We already played the Cowboys game. Real quick, Sean, your Cowboys takeaway. They struggle versus a team that we're not very high on in the Giants. Daniel Jones, the last 3 games, though, has been highly efficient besides the Hail Mary interception. That team just has no help whatsoever. That team's not very good. The Cowboys, though, are not very good either. Let me just ask you both a question real quick before we dive into this Saints game. Are the Washington Commanders better than the Cowboys, and would you slate them second behind the Eagles in that division right now ahead of the Cowboys?
I'll just say, to me, no, I wouldn't. Not at this point. We have to remember, they've only played 3 games. And to be quite honest, I'm going to just say it. The Bengals defense is bad. I mean, they're a bad, bad defensive team. I think I don't know that I ever thought I'd say this, but Arizona looks like a pretty solid defensive team. John Gannon's got a good thing down there. If he goes in there today, continues to play really well, we also have to remember, I mean, he struggled against the Bucs defense. Daniel struggled against the Giants as well. They did win that game, but I think we need a little bit more time. I could see it. He could be the future, and he should be the future, but I still think the Cowboys are talented. It's only been 3 games. I need Daniels to keep doing this.
Yeah, I think that he is I think he's one of the 5. Now, when I say this, you talk about Jaden Daniels. I think he's one of the 5, 6, 7 most dynamic players in the league. I didn't say best player. I'm saying everything he can do from that position. He's a top 5 dynamic player. He can kill you in so many friggin' ways, and he's accurate. I love the kid. I think the Cowboys are still a decent football team. I'm not ready to bury them and say they're not a playoff team. Their inconsistencies drive me crazy. Their inability to string together 4 quarters against a good team drives me crazy, or even a bad team for that matter. So their defense has got to get back. They're getting bullied. They really are. Offenses are bullying them, and it doesn't matter who the offense is. I still think the Cowboys are better than we've seen, like a lot of these teams. But I'm not ready to jump Washington in front of them yet. But I can tell you this: the Cowboys keep playing like this, they'll take a few more ass whippings along the way. They beaten with the Giants game, but then going back to Baltimore, I mean, they gave a valiant effort in the 4th quarter, but the other 3 they got their ass handed to them. So there's some fixing to do there, and I don't think they're explosive on the offensive side of the ball enough. That's just my opinion.
I'll tell you this: they need to fix some things defensively. That's a major issue right now with this group. But they still have a good offense. They need to also find a way to run the ball a little bit more effectively. Losing Tony Pollard hurt. They don't have a great run game. So yeah, it's still a little early. And again, Daniels, keep going on the road and doing this stuff, and he'll be there. But
he gets
Prescott's a good player too. What?
Yeah, they get McLaurin the ball better, more and more. Jaden gets comfortable with McLaurin, who I think McLaurin, when he has a quarterback getting him the ball, is a damn good wide receiver, probably the top 10 guy in the league. And if they continue to get him the ball and run the football with it seems to be finding a niche there in the run game. That team is dynamic, man. They're in defense travels. I don't know. Washington's defense, who Jeff said on my show months ago, could be a surpriser up front. We know they have a decent talent on defense. I'm curious to see this Washington team as they go with who I said was the best rookie quarterback in the draft. Let's dive into this first slate real quick, and then I got to hop off. The Saints Falcons in a South rivalry matchup right out the gate. This is 2 teams that Sean and I said earlier when we started this show 3 weeks ago will probably be in the mix of it with the Bucs to win this division. Where are you at with these 2 games, Jeff, to start it off with right out the gate? 10 a.m. on the West Coast, 1 p.m. on the East.
Yeah, I think injuries are abound in this game, and mostly in the trenches. I think one thing we didn't notice last week that was a major issue for the Saints, first of all, they couldn't move the ball. Why couldn't they move the ball? Their center, Eric McCoy, went out of the game, and they got completely destroyed. I mean, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis really hurt them. Cesar Ruiz was out as well. And what that does is that hurts, obviously, Carr, but Kamara is not as effective. We saw him. He wasn't able to break these big rushes off. He was getting hit behind the line of scrimmage a lot, and that offense just fell apart. The Atlanta Falcons, I think we got to look at them and say, wow, look what they've done so far. They've played really well. They were pretty good last week against the Chiefs. Throw in the fact that they're at home here. They, though, have issues on the offensive line, too. Caleb McGarry's out. I believe their guards out as well. So I think these groups could get bogged down. This seemed like a first to 20 wins. I'm going to lean on the Falcons, though, at home in a divisional game. I think they're just in a better spot. I think the Saints are really exploited last week. I think they're a bit of a fraud. And if not for some bad interceptions from Jalen Hurts and bad decisions, that game wasn't close. The Eagles had, I think, 400-plus yards of offense.
Yeah, I like Atlanta in this game too. A little more than a field goal, but I'd lay those points as well. I like them at home. They're due for an offensive explosion. The thing that will keep the Saints in the game, in my opinion, is their defense. Dennis Allen's got their defense flies around. I expect a few more big plays out of the Atlanta Falcons at home. I think Atlanta's going to win this football game.
Hey, before I walk out of here and leave it to you guys, I got 2 lock picks of the week. Rams for sure. Caleb Williams we know he's fucking horrible. And then we got I'm taking the Titans to beat the Dolphins in a shocker tomorrow night. That's my right there. Dolphins are a figment of what they should be. I'm telling you right now, Sean, that Dolphin team's in serious trouble, and I don't know why they don't go get a QB, but they better go find Tannehill or trade for Bryce Young or do something, because I don't know what if Tua week 8 says I'm retiring?
And you know what else about Tua too? It just goes to show you how that offense flowed when he was at quarterback with some of the. Even though he doesn't fit the bill of big and physical, when he throws on time and in rhythm, that offense moves now.
Yeah. This is a great point by JB. Let's say he does come back next week, right? He's again one more injury away from that stat, essentially.
Don't get it.
You can't really.
By the way, Chiefs Queendom, go Chargers. Hey, I love you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, Coach. Thanks. Take it easy. All right.
Good luck to your dog, bud.
Now we play.
Take it away, brother. Let's roll.
Let's have some fun. But just one other thing about that Falcon game. They are under 3 as well. It's only 2.5. So 24-21 is a winner here, Sean.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Last I had was 2.5 as well. I think they're a field goal win in this game. I like them.
But I will say that's a good Saints defense. They really are. And you're right. If they're going to stay in this game, it's going to be because the defense comes to play. That offense could have struggles without 2 guys on the offensive line. By the way, before we get into the games, if you're out there, you like the show, please hit the like button. Support the channel here. Coach JB, Smitty, all the guests. We got a lot of people in here, so make sure you do that. All right, Sean, let's go to the next game here. Steelers-Colts. This looks like another rough game to watch from an aesthetic standpoint. Steelers.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jeff.
Real quick, Steelers are 2.5-point favorites on the road. They are 3-0. They've won, though, through their defense. Look, I'm not running to back Justin Fields. Keep in mind, Justin Fields has 13 career wins. 3 have already come this year, right? So that's an indictment on the previous teams that he was on, maybe their coaching staff, maybe the where they put him in as far as a quarterback. The Colts are a group. I really worry about Anthony Richardson against a really good defense. Can he figure that out? I think they have some more playmakers. Steelers a little banged up. Jalen Warren, guys are out on that defense. They do have a great offensive line, the Colts, which really is helpful for Richardson. Again, they're getting some playmakers back. I think they have the edge here. I think the Steelers eventually are going to get caught up on. I don't think this offense is good enough. Colts have a pretty decent defense as well. I lean the Colts at home. Anything here on this one?
No, real quick. I don't. I know they can't sustain it offensively. It speaks to Mike Tomlin just continues to find ways to get guys to overachieve. Defensively, they'll be in every game. I don't think they're explosive enough, but I would not take Fields out right now and replace him with Russ Wilson. Sits on the bench, even if he's healthy, when he's fully healthy right now, until Fields proves that they lose a game or 2. I would not make that choice because Russ has been in the league. Colts, the front 7 going to have to play the first 2 games. They did not play well against the Texans and Packers. And Anthony Richardson is just not an accurate passer. He is a tremendous talent, but an inaccurate pass. You're going to get a game today with guys tremendous. I'm talking about playmaking studs at quarterback. But the question is, can they grind out? Fields had a hell of a game throwing the ball last week. Can they grind it out if the big play's not there, where they got to play boring and play simple, where it's not their skill set? We'll see. Give me the Colts by a field goal at home as well.
I mean, you look so far. Anthony Richardson, 49% completion percentage. And a lot of those throws, particularly in week 1, a game in which they lost, he's just throwing the ball up down the field, right? A lot of just 50-50 balls, guys that are taller receivers getting it. Throw in the fact this is one of the best rushing defenses in the league. Jonathan Taylor may not have a good go of it. That's going to put more onus on Richardson. Bailey in the behind the scenes says likes the under. I agree. I think this is a tough game to watch. This one was 42-43. It's down to 40.5. signifying a lot of people think this is going to be a first to 20 wins. It's a tough number. I just don't want to back Richardson. I know what he is against a good defense. He's, again, going to have to make throws. I don't know if he can. It's a tough game. My first thought would be the under here. It's not a game I got involved with, though. Remember, guys, key numbers in football, right? With a spread is 3, 7, 10, 14. Totals, 42, 49, 35. 40 and a half is not a great number here. 21-20 is a loser. 24-20 is a loser. There's just certain scoring levels that you're not covering here with this game. This is 42 and a half, Coach, or not Coach Sean. I'm in. That said, a lot of people wondering where Coach is. Had to take his dog to the vet. Dog's having some trouble. I didn't know dogs had ACL injuries.
Yeah, they do. You can blow out an ace. Oh, yeah. You can blow
I've come to realize dogs have like the same problems humans do.
That's right. And
dogs
are actually nicer than humans and more loyal and loving. And
listen, Coach,
once in a while.
Sean, I got to say it, though, and I'm just going to say it. Kirk Herbstreit, enough with the dog. Seriously, enough. Do we need 5 Twitter posts every day from you about a dog? By the way, Sean, is it healthy to have a dog on a plane that much? It can't be.
Well, he's on a private plane, so it's okay. He's not flying commercial where he has to stick it under a seat or down below. Herb's on one of those really nice wheels up jets, and they're taking care of him.
I know, but
I get why it irritates me. It doesn't bother me because I own 3 dogs, and one of them's a 100-pound bull, Pitty. And if I was traveling as much as he is, and the dog was going through some health concerns, I understand why you don't want to be away if something were to happen. I do. He loves that dog.
But is there anyone that beats something into the ground like ESPN does?
We all do. Oh, no. ESPN. I love Herbstreit. But I get what you're saying because you're not the first person who said it, and Herbstreit knows that. He knows it bothers some, so it's okay. No matter what you do, it's those of us who love it. But I get it. And he even admitted last night because I know. And then his other dog, he loves those dogs, and he loves that dog travels. And I get that feeling that sentimental of, man, I love this dog so much. What if, and hopefully that dog lives for 10 more years. But I get it on your side, and I love Herbstreit, so that doesn't bother me at all. Because
I will say, though,
myself.
It's a pretty dog, though. I will say those labs are
well behaved too. Well behaved, Jeff. So. Yeah, so and back to the football thing. What game were we on?
We'll move on to the Jags and Texans. And Coach, or I keep calling.
Take the under in that game. You can call me Coach, dude. I don't care. No problem.
Yeah, I feel like I'm on with KB. Sean, I love the Jags here. I bet this at 6, and here's why. When you're betting, you have to be able to see these spots and say, okay, what do I know people are going to do? I want to be on the opposite of what most people are betting. I don't want to bet with the guy betting $20 at a sports book today. I just have no interest in being on that side. And we know recency biases. Jags stink. What did you just say? Trevor Lawrence isn't good enough. The Jags just got blown the fuck out on Monday Night Football. They're 0-3. It's circle the wagons time, though, for Jacksonville. Couple of things, though, on the field I like. This is a good, just being honest, this is a good Jags rush defense. This is a bad.
They're on their third back. Mixon's not playing. Neither is Pierce.
Right.
They're on Cam Akers. They average about 2 yards a carry. Their running game sucks right now.
We also assume that Houston's just really good offensively. I hate to tell you, they haven't been. They haven't been
pedestrian in the first 3 weeks.
And you look at when they were good, they ran the ball really effectively against Indianapolis in week 1. They have not done that ever since. And you mentioned no Joe Mixon today, no Tank Dell today. Nico Collins is banged up, got a hamstring strain. He was out hurt in practice this week. And that puts more onus again on C.J. Stroud, who, again, so far through 3 weeks, they have not been great offensively. This is a circle the wagons game. Jags, there's really no coming back from this. I think the whole world's going to be on Houston today. And what have we seen the number here do? It went from 6.5 to 6, now to 5.5.
Yeah.
Remember that too. 7 is a very important number in the NFL.
No doubt.
This was never moved to 7. That is strictly showing you the Jags are the play in this game. I also will throw one other stat out there. Underdogs of 5.5 or more so far this season, folks. 15-2 against the spread. The public is getting destroyed in these games. I think the Jags challenge to win this one. I think it may come down to a field goal. Something tells me they win this game. And Houston, all of a sudden, we're thinking, uh-oh.
Even though they're 2-1, it's been an ugly 2-1, and talking about them all week. They have not got into a rhythm. They have not had the aggressiveness and big play ability that we're used to. They don't run the ball well. Their offensive line is not pass protecting well either, and they can't stay on sides. I mean, Tunsil's got like 10 pre-snap penalties.
It's insane.
It's a fucking embarrassment. You cannot be considered one of the – and he is a great player once the ball snapped. But pre-snap, it's just a lack of focus. You just can't keep making excuses for him. Like if I had a quarterback that hey, man, the guy, he's really good, man. He's a superstar. We just paid him like one. But he throws 3 picks a game. Then we got to fix it. Or he lays the ball in the backfield down 3 picks a game, or turns the wrong way on 3 run games and causes a fumble in the backfield. Just can't do it. Tunsil's got to play better. No, I'm not with the public on this. I am 100% with you. 5.5's too much. Jacksonville, if they don't play a good game, you're going to start hearing bench the quarterback, fire the coach. That's what you're going to hear. So there is a circle the wagons. And the Texans, they've been banged up. Got Nico Collins back. We know Mixon's out. They have not done a very good job up front, and you're going to do everything you can to make them one-dimensional and then make them be patient. Try not to give up the home run. The Texans may end up winning the game, and they're a better overall team. They're not playing good enough for me to lay 5.5 points on the road. Give me Jacksonville.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You mentioned the penalty problem. Houston, 30th in the league so far in penalties per game, nine per game. Yeah, and you mentioned Tunsil. It seems like every game it's 2 or 3 offensive holdings. You look at all the way dating back to late last year. Laramie Tunsil, 11 penalties.
He's got 10 already, Jeff. He's got 10 in 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's just not. Is it that much? Wow.
He had 6. He had 6 called and 5 last week. 3 pre-snap and I think 2 or 3 alignment penalties where he's too far in the backfield. He's got to stop it. Well, since 2016, I'll add on to your stat. Since 2016, Laramie Tunsil, nobody's been penalized more. He leads the world in penalties.
Yeah, it's
2016, and this is called a trend when it's been going on for 8 years.
I remember the Eagles at 5, 6, 7 years ago had a guy, Jason Peters, great offensive lineman. He was a great offensive lineman, but you always knew he was going to give you 1 penalty a game. It was just a norm.
Yeah, well, but I'll tell you what, take one in Houston, just 1, not 7, 8, 9, 10, no doubt.
But there is a onus on that offensive line coach, Chris Strausser, to fix that. That's a coaching thing, though. I mean, if you're not lined up correctly, clearly he doesn't know he's lined up incorrectly and keeps lining up incorrectly.
That's also the veteran's fault to watch tape and say, let me move up 6 inches, or to go on ball movement, not on cadence or hand clap. You got when it's loud. But the problem with him is he's doing it at home too.
Yeah.
And it's just a trend. It's a lack. For some reason, he lacks focus at some point in the game. He's going today. If he does not jump off sides or get a penalty today, that they take this game and take the ball and stick his number in the Hall of Fame, because that just doesn't happen. He's a regular offender when it comes to procedure, jumping off sides, lining up wrong. He has got to get it fixed. He's not a 20-year-old rookie. He's better than
that said, I wouldn't mind if he has some today.
I know where you're talking about that. Yeah.
I'm good with that. All right, so you and I agree. Jags plus 5.5. That's one of my favorites here. Let's go to the next one. Vikings Packers. This big one in the NFC North. We have an undefeated team and a team that I think if you're Green Bay, Sean, getting Jordan Love back, we would imagine. Is he active? Is that for sure? He's active.
I think so. Last I saw, I thought that I read this morning early. Speaking of dogs,
I would think he is.
I think he is, and then a game time decision. To me, if he's active, he's playing. That's
sure.
I mean, you're not going to make him active and then sit over there and keep him. You want to get him in a game because and for Malik Willis, good for him the way he's played the last couple of weeks. That's what a backup's supposed to do, especially when Tennessee quit on him. An opportunity to go do his thing and being well taught, and they go in there. You don't have to be a hero; just play solid, air-free football without having to be a hero, and he did. So that gives you hope, but it's a different egg when you got Love. So good on Malik Willis. I think Love will play unless there's some injury there or something that bugs him in pregame warmup. But I still like the Vikings in this game. I don't think this is by chance. I think the Packers are 2.5-point favorites unless that's moved.
Yeah,
I know it sets up for their 3-0. Love coming back, hero if he is back. The way they're going, they run the ball. But Aaron Jones has been an unbelievable addition. As long as Darnold protects it, this team can win. I think this is a late win by somebody. I mean, by regardless, but I think it's within inside that number. I like the Minnesota Vikings in this game, and I think they go in there and win the game and get to 4-0, to be honest with you.
Well, and it's a divisional game too. A lot of those this week occur per Ian Rappaport. He's in. He's active, ready to go. And I think you're right. I think if you're the Green Bay Packers, after that game in Brazil, a game in which you lost, your quarterback goes down. You don't know if he's going to be back this year. Maybe it's an ACL. And you're thinking, uh-oh. But then you look at several games later, they're 2-1. Willis did honorable work. He played well. Did. I think the Tennessee Titans are probably looking at it and saying, damn, I wish we would have kept him around maybe. They would at least have someone to go to, not Mason Rudolph, who they don't want to go to. That said, in this game, I agree with you a little bit. I'm still feeling like the betting markets are down on the Vikings.
I'm bullish on them the way they're playing. Yeah.
And they're not beating bad teams. Like, they just blew the fuck out the Tennessee Titans.
Well, of the first of their wins. Well, let's make no mistake about it. They beat the Vikings. The San Francisco 49ers up for a better than their record, but when they're healthy, and they took on and beat and they smoked the Houston Texans. I mean, these are all teams, at least the two of them, that people said these are playoff teams. So the Vikings aren't beaten. They didn't beat Carolina and the Giants in back-to-back games. They're playing good football, air-free football for the most part on offense. Darnold threw a red zone interception against the 49ers, but he's protected and making the big play when they're there. I like Minnesota. I don't think they're fake. I think when you jump out to 3-0, plus even if you go through a losing skid, you've at least posted 3 now, which give you a really, really good feeling going in because you jumped out. I'd rather be Minnesota than Cincinnati right now. I'll sure as hell tell you that, regardless of personnel.
Oh, sure. And they're not going to be they're good and happy with where they are. Look, I lean Vikings here. I want a 3. That said, Sean, you got to go back to November of 2021, the last time this game was decided by 3 points less. This has been a blowout game. Whoever wins generally wins by double digits. Here's the issues for the Packers. Just because Jordan Love's back doesn't make me automatically want to back them. Remember, he is just coming off an injury. How healthy is he completely? They're not going to have Jair Alexander today either. That's a big loss. He is out. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Minnesota does not look like an aberration. They look like a good football team. They look like one of the better teams in the NFL right now. They're running the ball well. Sam Darnold's doing enough. He's not making mistakes and hurting things. This defense looks very good under Brian Flores. I'd like a 3 if I'm going to back Minnesota. I think you're right, though. I think this is going to come down to a field goal late. It could be a push in the end. It should be a great game. 2 good football teams early in the season. Yeah, I'm going to lean Vikings, not a game.
I would love that half point. I'm not. That's not a game I'd bet, but I'm really interested in watching.
Yeah. The only game so far that we've went over that I've bet so far is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Right. I got 6, but again, 5.5's out there. You're kind of on a dead number with 5.5. Let's move to the next game here, Sean. This is an interesting one. Bengals heading to take on Carolina. Carolina got a shot in the arm last week with Andy Dalton, who came in. That offense looked real for once. Is that a bigger indictment on Bryce Young? Just isn't good. I mean, what more do we see here?
He's not ready to play. He just, they're a better team with Dalton, and that's okay. That's as long as he's staying in tune, and when the second chance comes around, he's ready to pounce on it. You still have to have good players. But Dalton, better decisions, sees things better. He's been in the league for 100 years. So Andy Dalton's done some good things in this league. He's had teams in the playoffs when he's in Cincinnati, and he's a guy you can count on. Now, at some point in time, it's probably going to, taper off a little 3 or 4 or 5 weeks in where they said, let's go back now. If they lose 2 or 3 in a row and say, let's put Bryce back in. But Bryce Young, there's a lot, and he hasn't made any excuses. There's a lot that he's got to catch up on in the emotional, mental, physical side. Playing quarterback's a bitch in the NFL. Sustaining good plays a bitch in the NFL. And I just hate when somebody quits on a guy whose team's not very good. He's on his second coordinator in 2 years, second head coach in 2 years. And, the whole thing, and then he's expected on a good team to go play like Stroud or the way that Jaden Daniels is playing. Those guys are the outliers. Rookies play like Bryce Young did last year and started this year, but it was even worse than rookie play. He's got to take a step back because he's never had failure in his career. He was great in high school at Mater Dei. He's been great at Alabama. And how he deals with this failure, I trust the kid. I'm not ready to quit on him, but you can't play him right now. You've got to play Andy Dalton.
100% agree. And my thought on this game, I mentioned totals. You're not seeing a lot of high scoring games. I think if there's going to be a high scoring game in the 1 o'clock window, it is this one. I'm going to keep saying it. I think Cincinnati's defense sucks. They get no pass rush. Their corners got destroyed last week against Jaden Daniels. And what do they do on offense, Cincinnati? They throw. They're a top 5 team in the NFL in passing play percentage. How often do they throw the ball? Joe Burrow's out of the first 3 weeks. He played pretty well last week. You got Jamar Chase back. He had a couple of touchdowns, I believe. T. Higgins is back. That Greek, what is he, Romanian? He's played well. Very interesting wide receiver core. They're just throwing the ball a ton. And Carolina on the defensive side, Derek Brown's out. That secondary is not good either. I think there's points in this game. This is going to be the one game. I like the over. I think the Bengals team total, Sean, is 26.5. I like that a lot. I think they get to 30 against this team. I think this is like a 31-21 type of game. I like this over 47.
Yeah, to me, I like the over, but I also like the Bengals in the game. What are they, 4.5 or something? I just because if they go 0-4, they're not making the playoffs. I'll state that. And they were a team I had targeted as a Super Bowl team, but their defense, like you said, they just do not look the same. But I would expect them. This is around the time every year where Burrow and their team starts to pick up the tempo. Question is, are they good enough to do it? They're going to beat Carolina. It would be the most miserable loss of the last couple of years if they lose this game to Carolina. They just can't. Especially, they got to treat it like it's single elimination. I know it's not, but they need to treat it like that. I actually think they curb stomp. I think it's like 31-17, 31-20, like you do. But I think it's a double-digit win for Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think the bookmakers will lose on this game. A lot of people will bet the Bengals, like you alluded to, can't go 0-4. And listen, you got to give Joe Burrow some credit. He's been very good the last 2 weeks. Look, did they get a raw deal against Kansas City?
Big time.
Probably, But then again, like, what was the excuse last week? I think this team is just a product of – they're just a poorly coached team to me. I mean, a lot of – the defense just can't get they just couldn't get a stop, Sean. It was insane. You
put too much pressure on the offense to have to do that. And they, without Mixon full time, they're not as good there with the ability to catch and run, run the football and catch it out of the backfield. They're different, but they need a swift kick in the ass to get going. This is a game they need to walk out of this not only with a win, but you don't want it to be the bittersweet win where it's like we won and it was an ugly win and we did that, because you know how that does. That travels with you. You still, even in a win, you go watch film the next day. It's like, man, watching this tape's miserable. They need to put their foot on Carolina's throat. Dalton gives Carolina hope. I just can't fathom that Cincinnati's bad enough to go 0-4 to start this season.
I will say, very super underrated. It's not an underrated. People know what happened. One of the biggest misses of a team was the Cincinnati Bengals not retaining Joe Mixon. That running back room is bad at this point. And you look at how important he is to Houston, right? He makes that offense go. You think about it. They have all these big receivers and Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell and Collins, but he's what makes them go. That's a big loss. Let me ask you, let's say the Bengals lose today, right? They go 0-4. Season's over, right? You're going to start hearing Jamar Chase.
Trade talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we selling here? It's like a baseball team that's at the All-Star break really bad. We're going to start
thought they were going to be a World Series team. Had an injury. One of their guys left. A couple guys left to free agency. Tough offseason. Their superstars mad that he doesn't have a new contract. And you start out 0-4. Crowd's booing you. Here we go again. Not this Bengals. Come on now. Don't let the window shut. And boom, all of a sudden somebody offers you 2 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders, and a 5th for Jamar Chase, and you trade him. Yeah, that talk, whether it happens or not, they'd be dumb to trade him, but that talk will begin if they go 0-4.
But again, we've seen how the NFL works. They can't go and lose to Carolina. Carolina is one of the worst teams in the NFL. It's got to be, we're going to move on from this, but it's got to be a clinical win. You need, if you're a Bengals fan, to win by double digits. You need that defense to look better, which I'm not sure it's capable of it. I've said this for years. Their pass rush is non-existent. It's never there, ever. They had seeds of it last year a little bit, but they just don't get to the quarterback. And I think that secondary is just getting pummeled. I like the over. I think we both assume the Bengals are going to bounce back here. anything under 7, I have some interest in this one. Let's go to Rams Bears. I completely disagree with Coach Jason Brown. He mentioned he liked the Rams. He bets them every week. I think he's got some sort of love affair with Sean McVay. I don't know what's going on. That said, look, I give them a lot of credit. One of the games I was wrong on last week was the Rams. The Niners completely fell apart, Sean. They were up 10 with, like, I think at the end of the third quarter, blew it. I cannot back a team with this offensive line stuff. All their receivers are out. Stafford's great, but now you got to go on the road, play an upstart Bears team who, again, I know Caleb Williams isn't there just yet, but I'm going to sell high on the Rams and buy low on the Bears. I like them here. I think they beat the LA Rams and cover.
Yeah, I think they cover too. Now, I picked the Rams as my lock last week against the 49ers with that spread. I took the Rams. Even though I wasn't on, I told JB what it was. So that was my pick. It just, with both teams last week being banged up. And, you know, while Caleb Williams doesn't have a lot of help right now, and I know he's got a long way to go, he's still making some plays. You know, if he throws, he really is. So when they say he sucks, he doesn't suck. Caleb Williams has got some talent. They just got to let's take a minute. He's 3 games into his career. But I think the crowd's going to be going crazy. I think even though they've struggled, I think with him gives them hope. It's a great football town, fan base, great sports town. You give me in an ugly game, I think it's ugly, but I actually think the Bears may make more big plays today than the Rams do. I'll take the Bears. You give me those points. What's it, 3 or 3.5? 3 points, right, Jeff?
It's 3, yeah.
Yeah, it could be a push. I think that there's a chance that the Bears could go win this outright too in their own building. I like it.
Again, you look at the fourth quarter last week for the Niners; they just completely collapsed.
Oh, Chicago's -3, right? Chicago,
yeah,
not the right. Yeah, I actually think the Bears either win by a field goal and it's a push, but I think the Bears are going to win this game. I've never felt comfortable picking the Rams against the Bears on the road this week after last week and that big win they had. They're just so depleted, and I think the Bears can step up and make a few plays. Yeah.
We did a hot take last week, Coach and I. My hot take was, Sean, the Saints would not score 20 points. They didn't. This week, coming out party for Caleb Williams. Guess who's playing today? Keenan Allen. I think that helps the young kid. I like Caleb Williams. I'm a fan. I think he's going to play well today. I know that's kind of a deep thought, but I like it. I don't
think you're far off. I don't think he's played miserably. He's going to throw a couple picks, make plays, but the dude's a dynamic playmaker. I think he's going to prove today that he can take care of his business. It'll be a big win, and getting Keenan Allen, one of the best route runners in the world, back will help. -3 is about right. I wish it would have been, wish it would have said 2.5. I'd love that, but I still think the Bears went outright.
Here's, though, kind of a devil's advocate on what I just said about Caleb Williams. It makes me have no interest in laying points. Sean, listen to this. This is gross. Caleb Williams has 19 throws, 20 yards or more downfield, which is the most in the NFL. He's 3 for 19 with 3 interceptions on those throws and has an NFL worst 28 throws off target.
Oh, there's no doubt. He's got to get better throwing from that hula hoop in the pocket. See, right now, the best way to beat him is play that where you're kind of a passive-aggressive pass rush where you're not letting him make the first guy miss and get on the edge and be able to scramble east and west. Is you keep him make him beat you from there, from the pocket, which he wants to, but a lot of throws, and he doesn't understand the hero part of it yet because he has to listen. He's seen this movie because at SC for 2 straight years, if he didn't score 40, they didn't win. Mm-hmm. And he's carried that over to the NFL a little. He thinks he's got to make all these big plays. The coordinator and the offensive staff have to help him and reiterate how important it is that sometimes boring football is the best football. He doesn't have to make every play. Just eliminate an interception or 2 a game, and he'll make strides. He's a dynamic playmaker who's going to get better. They'll win today, I think. It's almost like sometimes I feel like I have a crystal ball. I remember in the summer coming on this show with Coach JB and Smitty, they had all these moves they made, right? The Bears on offense. They get this big quarterback. They got this guy and that guy. Keenan Allen, another one, right? Right. But you look at the one issue they did not address and has been coming back to haunt them, the offensive line. They're allowing 4.3 sacks per game. It's one of the worst in the NFL so far. It's just not sustainable. And you always look at the teams. How do they win year after year, right? The Chiefs, even like a Philadelphia Eagles, they're always in the playoffs, right? Why?
great offensive line.
Detroit's become a team like that now too. Their offensive line's really good. You're right, man.
Yeah, I just don't know how to slice it any other way. And when you look at sacks allowed, Sean, you know what's crazy? Look at the worst teams in the NFL right now. Okay, not the worst, but bad. Chicago, Tennessee, Cleveland. Guess what? They all have the same characteristic.
The quarterback gets hit all the time.
They're at the bottom in sacks allowed per game. It's just pretty simple. Look how bad the Saints offense was last week. A group that was scoring 40 points a game. Look how bad they were without Eric McCoy and Cesar Ruiz. They were just getting blown the fuck up.
Look at the Texans playing against Minnesota.
What did we hear about the Eagles?
Wore them out.
The Eagles couldn't get to the quarterback. All last week, they were all over the quarterback.
That's exactly right.
It was the offensive line.
If you have listen, eventually bad offensive line and soft front seven on defense will get your ass beat no matter how good the quarterback is.
Now, let me ask you, would you agree that probably through the first couple of weeks, one of the more impressive teams has been Buffalo, right?
Without question.
Okay. Guess where they are on sacks allowed per game, Sean?
Probably normally quarterbacks who move a lot run into sacks, like guys who you'll say, man, that guy's got great feet. Why in the world does he get sacked so much? They run into sacks. Young quarterbacks who do that stat is very, very relevant. They're at the top of the league. That's why he can set his feet and throw it, and he's doing that. They would be one of the better teams in the league, I would imagine.
They're number one.
There you go.
Throw in the good offenses. Detroit, Kansas City. The Jets are playing better. Atlanta's played well. Green Bay's played well.
And the quarterback gets it out on time in those cities. The ball comes out. Yep. They're not holding it long. You are 100%. That is the staple of your team is the big fellas up front. And it always will be, regardless of what kind of quarterback league it is.
Going back to the pick for this game, I'm going to make this clear. I didn't bet on this one. I like the Bears. Something tells me Caleb plays well today, but some of those stats that I talked about with the throwing and the offensive line, it's hard to lay points with them. It just is. Okay, let's go to the next one. By the way, people asking where JB is. JB had to take his dog to the vet. He's getting surgery, unfortunately. So he had to tip on out. But JB, for what it's worth, his favorite play today was the Rams +3. He doesn't like Caleb Williams, so
yeah, he doesn't like Caleb, and he loves those Rams. He'd crawl 10 miles over broken glass just to watch a Rams practice right now. As much as JB loves his Rams, man, it's awesome.
Oh yeah, he's a big Ram guy. He loves getting
the Rams are his porn. You know what I'm saying?
He loves getting rammed, as they say. Is that a homer pick? We'll see.
Yeah.
Someone says it's a homer pick, Nate. By the way, I want to talk about the chat really quick. Someone claimed earlier, Sean, you were a basketball legend in Escondido. Is that true?
I was a Street and Smith honorable mention All-American. Got recruited by Notre Dame and UCLA and USC and Utah and Cal and
in basketball. Really?
Oh, yeah. The basketball and baseball are my best sports. And
I never knew that
until I got to high school. Unfortunately, it turned out great and was in high school became an All-American and stuff. But basketball and baseball, I didn't play football until I got to high school. I didn't even have to put pads in.
Yeah, so I don't know why I thought about you, Sean. I don't think about you much. I mean, you're a great guy.
That hurts.
But I was watching Bad News Bears, the original, the other day. And I'd heard you were from California, and I was thinking, you were when that came out, you were like a teenager, right?
Yeah, young, yeah.
That had to have been a great time to live, wasn't it?
Best ever.
Like the 70s were great.
Music, movies, best ever. 70s, 80s. Oh, yeah, dude. I had it, growing up. I thought
70s really underrated generation. It seemed like a great 10 years.
I had the time of my life growing up. When they say, would you want to go back and play the NFL? Sure, in college. But I'd like to go back the Friday night high school basketball or football, go back and play high school hoops. Hell yeah. Basketball was my best sport growing up. So, and baseball. They're the football. I could throw a ball, and then I studied it all the time. I just didn't play it. Then I got to high school, and the athletic director, my dad said, give it a try, see if you like it. Next thing you know, that's my career choice. So there you go. Yeah, hoops was my game.
You were a great hoops guy. I didn't know that. Good stuff.
Thank you for the compliment there, whoever sent that in. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know who that was. I think it was this guy, San Diego Varsity Sports. By the way, can we put that JB photo up again with the hat on? That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. That hat with the glasses.
Goofy bastard.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next one. This should be an interesting one. Broncos Jets. Broncos a 7.5-point underdog. What did I talk about? Again, a lot of these underdogs have come in. This number was 8 most of the week. It's being bet down a little bit. I think people were excited a little bit about Bo Nix. Broncos played well last week against a maligned Tampa group who we're going to talk about. Bo Nix is getting there. I was happy with what he did in the preseason. I'm impressed with that defense as well. They've played pretty well given the circumstances. We can't knock Bo Nix. I mean, he played a group like the Steelers at one point already this year. That's a great defense. This seemed a little too high to me. I think we're going a little too far with the Jets here. Look, the Patriots are in it. I think we all agree at this point, like this is the Patriots team we thought, the one we saw last week get just blown out. I think the Jets are still a defensive line that I worry about. I don't know if there's a sack master on that offense or defensive line with Reddick and Johnson out. Aaron Rodgers, again, looked really good last week, but he's still off a major injury in his 40s. Garrett Wilson doesn't seem to get the ball enough. This seemed a little too high to me. If I'm going to get anything over 7, I lean Denver here. I think they hang in this game.
Yeah, you know what, I do try, but I'm going to just go a little different on this one because I don't know if I'd even bet this one. Did you bet this game?
I have not bet this one either, no.
Yeah, but I do. I think when all is said and done, by the time the season's over, the Jets are going to be hanging around near the top of the division. I do. I think they're going to get a few things worked out. I think their defense is better than we've seen. I think they can, as much as I told people at the beginning of the year, don't sleep on Bo Nix. Is like when Sean Payton gets his hands on him to get him, use him the right way to be a rookie of the year type guy. Now, Jaden Daniels has played really good football, but I think an interception, a turnover, I think that there could be a couple the Jets could get. And if you don't get to Aaron Rodgers, regardless of how good your defense is, they've got some weapons on offense. They can run it and throw it. I actually think this is one of those that it's like a 30-17 win. I think Denver hangs around for a minute, but I think their defense gets a turnover or two and gets a short field. I'm going to take the Jets in this one because I believe that they're a playoff team, and I think that they'll continually progressively get better, and Rodgers' confidence with his body and his health will continue to grow. Give me the Jets on this one. They're at 7.5 now.
Yeah, this number's all over the place. There's 7.5s, 8s, 8.5s. And what we'll do, guys, at the end, we'll go over all the games we like. I will say from a standpoint of betting opportunities, a few that I liked early. I like Jacksonville. I like the Bengals, Panthers over. But you and I are kind of opposite here. I thought this was too many points. Will I get there and betting it? I don't think. Someone's asking what high school you went to.
Orange Glen High School in Escondido.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go. James George says, just a heads up, I'm in New York City right now and the weather's miserable. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I know you're in what, Houston, Sean?
Yep. And we're having a beautiful day today.
It has rained on the East Coast for over a week. It's insane.
That's normally Houston. Yeah. It's been clear as could be, and it's a phenomenal day here today.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe look, I don't care much. I mean, maybe you can answer this. I'd be curious to ask you, would you agree that rain means nothing in an NFL game?
It only depends. The snow means nothing, to be honest with you. To me, snow's not a big deal. Wind's the worst.
Wind is worse, yeah.
If it's really windy, because not just throwing into the wind, because the natural thought process for a quarterback is I'm throwing into the wind, overthrow it and change my mechanics. And that's not the truth. Just a little more leg drive. The upper body's got to stay the same, because when you overthrow it, your head kind of gets out of the picture screen, too much upper body, it's not quiet, and then the ball's all over the damn place. And with the wind, what happens is you back off. And so when you throw, you tend to short arm, or the point of the ball stays up on deep throws. So it's with the wind, while with your kicker and kicking off and punting and those shots, and you have that offense where it's the wind in your face isn't stopping you. I'm not sure, for me as a quarterback, I never felt like throwing with the wind on balls that were deep down the field. I didn't feel like that was much of an advantage. I had a strong arm, but I didn't feel like it was much of an advantage because the tendency is to back off because you don't want to overthrow it, and so you short arm things. So wind's the worst. Rain would be second, but a drizzle where it's like where the ball gets actually tackier and stickier when there's a little rain on it. It does. It's like that's why guys lick their fingers and go to the line of scrimmage. Like I always did. I wanted a little bit of that moisture on it. And it's the size of hands does matter. I mean, guys, some will lay it on the ground if their hands aren't big enough to grip it in the rain. But it's the deluge when it's coming down sideways.
Yeah,
and it's coming off in the ball. It's hitting you, and it's like the wet towel was placed on it. And then sometimes in a hot day, the center, when you're under center, which a lot of people are in the gun now, the center's ass used to be a problem. Or he'd lean over it, and the ball, he'd drip sweat like crazy on it. He'd come up and hit his ass, and it would felt like the ball was in rain. So a deluge of rain's a problem when you just, when one of those games, when we see those, but normal rain, and it's an offensive advantage because we know where we're going. We know when we're cutting.
Mm-hmm.
So you got better. It's the defense that's a problem because you can't come out of your cut as fast. You find yourself slipping on the ground. In the wind's the worst. Hard rain's the next, and snow. Hell, you'll see some of the biggest games in the world when it's a little slippery, but you're playing in snow. My best game of my career was in snow at Denver. You see it all the time. Big offensive performances in snow.
I've always said, when people ask about gambling, well, it's going to rain, Ty. It doesn't matter. It's wind. If it's 30-mile-an-hour winds, yeah, that's important.
Affects every part of the game. Wind, going with it, coming into it, and kicking game, all of it. Affects it all.
Exactly. And we'll get back to finish up the 1 o'clock games in one second. I just want to address someone. Someone said, why you ain't tweet shit during the CU game, homie? I don't know if you're talking to me, but I did. I actually tweeted out this, Sean. Travis Hunter is one hell of a player. He won't win the Heisman because I doubt Colorado is relevant when it's voted on, and that's not right. What he's able to do is quite extraordinary. So I did tweet during the CU game. So I think he's talking about JB.
Yeah, I think I think Matt were going at it. I thought I saw that video, which was classic.
JB did not tweet. I think he was on his yacht, according to him. So you have to. Okay, I'm talking
Travis
about JB.
Hunter, Travis Hunter. I think that's a JB thing. I don't tweet much during college games. I'm too into watching him that I tweet him now.
Would you agree that Travis Hunter's been really good, but if I'm picking the Heisman right now,
it's Jalen Milroe.
It would be.
Or Ward, Cam Ward. One of those.
Could it be Genty, though? I mean, he's unbelievable.
Oh, there's no question. There's no doubt. Travis Hunter is the best player in college football.
Agreed.
And his durability and his ability to play 100-plus snaps a game.
It's incredible.
But he's not going to have gaudy enough stats on both sides. So it's a numbers. It's a number.
And again,
their team's not going to be in the playoffs.
Exactly. That's my major point.
Out of sight, out of mind. But the NFL guys are going to take him in the first 5 picks.
And that's why, to me, if I'm looking at G5, I'm looking more at Genty over. And I know that Colorado's not a G5 program, but again, they kind of are because they're not going to make the college football playoff as a Big 12. That said, though, maybe they can win the Big 12. Who the hell knows? Current favorite. And I said this as well. Jalen Milroe was like 12-1 yesterday before that game. He's now 2-1. He is the absolute favorite. So,
he should big, fast. He's a local kid right here in Katy. I was having about a year and a half ago, was having dinner and drinks with his dad and a buddy of mine, and he's been raised right. He's tough. He waited his turn behind Bryce Young, and it didn't transfer. He's a tough SOB, and he's throwing the ball. He throws the ball deep down the field as good as anybody in football.
How about that play from that 17-year-old, that move he made? Unbelievable.
That kid is matter of fact, that kid, you almost want to stick him to the side and say, don't get hurt the rest of the time because, man, the NFL scouts would draft you at 17 if they could. What a top-notch performer and playmaker he is. Milroe right now, if the vote was today, with this fresh in their mind and the way they took care of their business, he wins the Heisman Trophy.
Sean,
he's the best in the country.
I made a large future bet on Alabama to make the playoff. It was -105 just to make the playoff. I don't care if they win. I'm really feeling good about that after last night. I do want to make
I picked them and bet them to win yesterday. Outright. I had them winning.
Well, they almost blew a big lead, and they did blow it.
They tried to give it away, and Beck had a really good second half, but you turn it over 3 times, you're not going to win in somebody else's building, especially Alabama's. Yeah, I'd like Alabama, and I think Alabama's got a chance to win the whole thing, to be honest with you.
And I will say one other thing on college football, and then we'll get back to the NFL. Matt McChesney wasn't happy with me because I said that Colorado wouldn't win another game this year, and I don't believe they will. They have a very tough schedule, and we'll be underdogs likely in every game they play going forward. Colorado's better, but this is where the schedule gets really difficult over the next.
Impressive win yesterday. That was an impressive performance.
It was.
Very impressive, but it's not going to get any easier for them.
Yeah, I had the over, so I was happy. Let's get back to the games here. Eagles, Bucks. Look, guys, I'm an Eagle fan. That said, I really like the Bucks in this game, if I'm being honest. Let's go through a couple of injuries here for the Eagles, Sean. No Devontae Smith, no A.J. Brown, no Lane Johnson. I mean, Jalen Hurts is going to throw to John Ross. Remember him? Ninth pick.
Former Cincinnati pick.
Yeah, he's been a massive bust. He
ran like 4.3 or 4.29 at the combine from Washington. Yeah.
Well, up until last week, he was at home. They brought him up, and he's now their third receiver. They're also going to throw to Jahan Dotson, who they haven't targeted at all. Dallas Goedert's going to get bracketed, I'd have to imagine. Saquon might have a nice day, but is that going to be enough? Eagles are on a bye next week. It would be a huge win if they're able to pick this game up, go 3-1 into the bye. But Jalen Hurts continues to make a lot of bad decisions. And, Sean, I'm just going to say it. Nick Sirianni was saved last week due to some hideous decisions. I got to ask you, as a former quarterback, there's 13 seconds to go in the half. Why go for that fourth down? I didn't understand. So what? You have one shot at the end zone and then you kick a field goal? Like, what was the point in that? Like, it's just really weird decision.
Why not? Why don't you just kick the field goal and go into the locker room and instead of something that can happen with, a few extra yards?
Let's say you get the first down there.
Okay.
You take one shot at the end zone and then kick the field goal.
Well, you're lucky if you get, depending on how many seconds roll off the clock on that with 13, the roll off the clock and you get down and you say, okay, if we take another shot, what happens if the ball's tipped up or somebody it's in bounds and we can't get whatever it is? You just take a risk. We get a little over greedy and a little too cute. Kick the field goal and get your ass off the field.
Well, he does not believe in taking points, and he's lucky that it saved them because there were a lot of people at halftime and into the third quarter saying, look, I wouldn't have brought him back this year. They have a new offensive and defensive coordinator. They decided to bring him back, but he is really getting on people's nerves in Philadelphia. They're very unhappy with this guy. Throw in the fact Bucks get Vita Vea back. That's a big help on the defensive line. They're off a loss, an embarrassing loss. Mike Evans has usually hurt the Eagles over the years.
How's I remember the Eagles. He's playing, right? Mike's playing. Did I see where he is?
Mike Evans is playing. The inactive to note for the Bucks, Winfield, their safety, is out. That's
a player. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, that's a big loss. But yeah, Eagles and Bucks play a lot. Got knocked out the Eagles last year by the Bucks. Maybe a little extra motivation. But yeah, I'm going to lean Bucks. I think this is a tough ask for Jalen Hurts. I think Saquon's going to have a huge game for them to win here. And if they win, they win. But I like the Bucks. I think they get it done.
Yeah, Jeff. If it was real quick, if it was in Philly, I'd take Philly. This is a home thing. Should be a little bit warmer. By the way, blessings to all in North Carolina, Georgia, Florida. Yeah. What a horrible visual that is. And having been through Hurricane Harvey here in Houston and Texas. I'd love to get in my truck and load up a bunch of trucks and drive down there and help if there's a way in to help. I know we all would, but blessings to you guys. But in Tampa, I like Tampa at home today. This is one looking up and down and say with all the injuries, even before we came on the show, I say, you know what, this sets up for a tough ass game where somebody makes a play in the end. Give me Tampa to win this outright at home as well.
One issue that Tampa has, another group, very poor offensive line. Baker's getting hassled a lot. They're not protecting him. But something tells me, the Eagles, I'm not totally worried about from a defensive line standpoint. I lean Bucks as well. I didn't bet this.
What is it, at one? Is almost a pick 'em? Is it a -1 Philly right now? Is that what
Bucks are +1? Bucks are plus
no, I
one.
said Philly's -1, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I got the outright win with Tampa today because of all the injuries and going on the road.
It's going to be very hot on the field, near 100 degrees on the field. So it's going to be a hot one down in Florida. And you say it best. The weather is a scary, scary, scary thing. We don't think enough about the weather. You can't touch the weather. And by the way, shame on some of you people, but it never surprises me. Sean, I actually saw a person tweet something about this hurricane and said, I wish we had a president in office. What does that have to do with that? So what, Joe Biden would have stopped the hurricane? What? Where do you come up with this shit, some of you people?
If people want to complain about who, I don't care who you vote for, whoever you want to vote for. I'm not gonna let my friendship be dictated by somebody's politics unless if you're an asshole, you're an asshole, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, liberal, right, conservative, I don't care. But when it comes to this, now, when it comes to if all of a sudden whoever's in office anytime doesn't get down there and help and do everything they can to get responders down there to help the rescue efforts, then I just look and say, you're a bad, this is no matter who you are.
Sure.
So to me, I understand climate control. Guess what a president or the next president or president 10 years from now not doing? Controlling when a hurricane hits and it's their fault. So
I always get a kick out of I always get a kick out of the strange conspiracy theories. The government controls the weather.
They got a machine in their office. Okay, if you don't like them, you think they're no good or an asshole, then don't like them. But That's the one. I know when Hurricane Harvey hit here, it wasn't because of Greg Abbott or wasn't because of some liberal judge, right? It just it didn't matter. It was simply because Mother Nature's a bitch, and if you haven't figured that out, and when she wants to be, how's that? She can be really kind at times. When Mother Nature's had enough, you ain't beating Mother Nature. Period.
100%.
That's a matter of fact. Mother Nature. You know what else? And the other Mother Nature age, and there's one other thing that's undefeated, Jeff, and we all know what that is. And so do what you want with that, okay?
Right. I agree. So there's your 1 o'clock games. We got about 20 more minutes. Let's go through the 4 o'clock games. Actually, some decent games here. This is one of them, 4:05. Commanders.
I like this slate today, don't you, Jeff? The whole thing today. I kind of like these. I'm intrigued by a lot of the games today. I'm with you, brother. Even if I didn't bet them, it's going to be a good watch. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm with you.
No, you're good. I think this is an intriguing one, and this is a game that I'm likely going to bet if I can get a 3. I like Arizona. I'm gonna look at this one. If I can get -3, I'm in. And it's not that I don't like Mr. Daniels. He was very good last week. But that defense for Arizona all of a sudden has been pretty good. I thought they were really good last week against Detroit. They played well. That a lot of people thought that was going to be a high-scoring game. They didn't win the game, but they held Detroit to 20 points, held the Rams in check. I know they got blown out, gave a lot of points up to the Bills, but a lot of people do. They're at home in this spot. I like Kyler Murray. I've always said that. I've always been high on the kid. I think Marvin Harrison is helping him tremendously. Trey McBride running the ball a little bit more effectively. I like Kyler. I think in this spot, I'll fade what we saw with Washington. I think they are solid. They're getting better. But I need Jaden Daniels to continue to do that week after week. Throw in the fact that I get a home game here. If I can get 3 on this game, I like Arizona.
Yeah, and hang on, it may get to you. How it's at 3.5 right now, right, Jeff? We said
and that's my issue.
Yeah, I was going to say that'll make you a little reluctant, but I'm going to take it another level. When the matchup, when we knew that these two were playing and looking at the matchup early in the week, I am as bullish and as big on Jaden Daniels there as I love the kid. I do. Every year he's gotten better since he left Arizona State. Every year. That tells me something. Plus, he's a student of it, and he's doing it the right way in his preparation and getting it done. And he's accurate. Like I said, you're either accurate or not. Within a couple points, the kid gets it. But I think that this game could get away from Washington if they're not careful, because I do like Arizona's defense, and I do think that Kyler creates some problems not only with his feet and big playability. And Washington's defense, as you stated, they've got some former number ones in there. They got some players. But I'm going to say, and Cliff has done a hell of a job with Jaden Daniels. Kingsbury has. He really has. And Dan Quinn, you knew their defense was going to be better. But give me Arizona and 3 or 3.5. I'm thinking about this game regardless if I get it down to 3. I actually think Arizona could, a late game, Arizona, I think you can maybe one-dimension them. Just don't let Jaden Daniels take the whole game over two-dimensional quarterback. Harder, easier said than done. I'm going to go with Arizona. And I think Arizona's going to make a push to be a playoff team out there in the way. I do. I think they're dangerous at times, not consistent. Give me Arizona in this one. Whether I get the 3.5, get it down to 3 or not, I think Arizona can win this game fairly handily, even though I love the way Washington played last week.
I don't want to knock Jaden Daniels. As I said, that Cincinnati defense is bad.
Right. Arizona's is better than now. It'll be a tougher challenge, but that kid's really good. But he's going to have to carry a big piece of a lot of weight on his shoulders on the road today.
And also throw in, Washington did get kind of clipped as well defensively. So in that game. So I want the 3. I don't want to lose, 30 to 27, 27, 24. I want the 3 here.
Yeah. Depending on how much you're going in with, there's no question. I'm with you, brother. I just like Arizona in this game.
By the way, this is the highest total on the board, 49, though it's coming down a little bit. I just don't think you don't see a lot of high scoring games in the NFL anymore.
Man, that's a normal occurrence in college. NFL, if you get to 50, it's a hero week.
Yes. TJ Nasty says, don't forget Cliff knows Kyler like a book. That's a good point. He was the head coach there for a couple of years.
There is no doubt. And it felt like they weren't real fond of each other at some point too, as it started to wind down there. Mm-hmm. You're right. He's been around Kyler. He's the reason Kyler went to Arizona, right? I mean, they drafted Josh Rosen the year before and parted with him after 1 year when Cliff came in, fired the coach and Wilkes and fired and moved Josh Rosen on. And Kyler, so he does know him, but Cliff's not going to defend him today. Dan Quinn will get some tea, but you still got to tackle the guy out in space, which is a tough. Matter of fact, this may be the two of this Sunday slate. Having Jaden Daniels and Kyler Murray on the field together. I'm not saying they're the best quarterbacks, but the ability to wreck a game with their feet and their arm at times with big plays on broken stuff and in rhythm. This may be a really as exciting a quarterback game as you'll have just for this week because of the ability of both of those guys on the same field to ruin you if you're not tackling them back in the pocket.
100%. People ask him where JB is. He's not showing his face. He actually did show his face. He was here for 15 minutes. He's with his dog. He's taking his dog to a vet
ACL surgery. Got to get ACL surgery.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the next one. Couple of more here. Patriots, Niners. It's big number here. Niners, 10.5-point favorites. Total is 42.
I think this is a curb stomp. I want you to talk more about it. I think the 49ers.
Do you?
I do. I think the 49ers, even though I know they're banged up, I know they're coming off of back-to-back big-time losses. Even though they're banged up, I just don't think – I think the defense will be the difference in the game. I do. I think they're going to give the Patriots offense all they can handle. Late game in San Francisco. To me, this sets up for double-digit win. I like San Francisco all day.
I have to ask, I mean, when we look at the Niners, I just thought last week was, how does that happen? Like, I get not covering, but like,
how do the Raiders lose to Carolina? How do the Texans go in there with all this hype and a 12-win caliber team or 11-win caliber team and waltz in to Minnesota and get their ass kicked? Remember the first game we all thought Carolina was better and the Saints.
No, you're right.
It's the end, dude. It is a.
But my whole thing is, Sean, like I don't play. I very rarely will lay 10.5 points in an NFL.
Agreed. But there's a reason that many points is hanging out there, and you and I, even with all the injuries.
But let me ask you though, is it the New England team we saw in the first couple of weeks? It beat the Bengals and was in games. I will say though, last week's game against the Jets, I didn't feel like they could get a first down, let alone score. So like. I wonder, like, and you're going to get a pissed off Niner team. You still have playmakers on that team. I hear you. But again, I'm not only getting above a touchdown, I'm getting above 10 points. That's
hardcore betting on this. I'm not sure. Are you?
Here's what I'm going to tell you to bet.
New England.
Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to bet. I like the under.
Bet you're going to bet the points. New England's under on New England's points.
I'm going to bet the under 42 because my thought in this game is. What I think will actually happen is this is like 24-7. I could see that. But even I could see it 21-13, and that's going to give me
21-10.
Yeah.
I think the Patriots are going to have a hard time scoring much today.
Right. And they have a good defense, right? New England. That's kind of their bell cow thing.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to run the ball, try to keep the ball away from Purdy and that offense. I think 42 is a pretty nice number. I'll see if I can get a 42.5, get the hook. Yeah. There's a 42.5 at FanDuel. Beautiful. I like the under in this one.
I think that's a safer bet. Yeah. We both agree that the Patriots aren't beating San Francisco in this game. If we were just with our buddies betting a beer saying, okay, who wins the game?
No, that's
a lot of points, especially. The under is a safer bet. I just can't fathom, even with injuries, that the 49ers show up because Purdy played well. Purdy plays well every week. Mm-hmm. He really does. And I'm a fan because he's a grinder. I just think the defense, this seems like short field game a few times for San Francisco. I do 24-10 to 27-13. I'm with you, but 27-13 would get over your
number. No, that's 41.
Right. You said it's 42. There you go. So it's a game like that. Not enough weapons for 49ers to hang 40 with all their injuries, but I don't think the Patriots can get out of their own way offensively on the road. I like San Francisco. I would bet both that you're talking about. But I would also, if somebody said, Sean, here's $1,000, and if you have to bet it one way or the other and you can't take the under, I still believe the 49ers boat race them today.
Keep in mind, both these teams, bottom 10 in the league in passing play percentage. They don't throw the ball a lot, especially New England. I like the under. Sean likes the Niners. Two more here on the 4 o'clock slate. Browns, Raiders. Look, there's two issues here. Three, actually. Why the fuck are the Browns a favorite to anybody? Why the fuck are they a road favorite? Number 3, they have the worst offensive line in the league so far as sacks allowed. Deshaun Watson is –
and a lot of that's on him. He runs into sacks, man. He He is not patient. He thinks his athletic ability. And when he calls a receiver a decoy right then and there, it tells me he doesn't understand what they're trying to accomplish. That word should never, ever, ever be used in football. I haven't heard that word used in 30 years in football. Every receiver out's available. What that told me, I didn't throw it to the decoy that was open because, well, he's a decoy. No. I'll guarantee you, Kevin Stefanski, to sit there, hey, this guy's a decoy. Yeah, no. There you have it. It is a cuss word. You got 5 out, 4 out. Everybody's up. The second you tell somebody they're a decoy, what's human nature? Jog through the route, and then all of a sudden the safety falls down and you're standing wide open. The quarterback doesn't throw it to you. Nah, that's a built-in, I confess it's somebody else's fault, didn't throw the decoy. Deshaun Watson's a pedestrian quarterback right now. That is all he is. And when he makes decisions like this, it can't give you – now he's capable of a monster performance. We know that. But decoy doesn't – nobody – hey, this isn't 1970 where Biletnikoff and Cliff Branch were running. He said, hey, you be the decoy over here, and we're going to throw the deep ball no matter what to Cliff Branch. No. Everybody's up. When you're an eligible receiver, you expect the ball, and the quarterback get through your progressions, and maybe you won't have to answer the question about a decoy. Decoy's a cuss word. Move on from it. If it's a decoy, then the Cleveland Browns aren't going to get anywhere with Deshaun Watson. There's no such thing as decoy on the offensive side of the ball for an eligible receiver, and no coordinator should ever use it. If he does, he's got diarrhea of the mouth. Okay.
Let me also say another thing. The Cleveland Browns are a horrifically run organization. Okay. Throw out
because I love their fan base, Jeff. I do.
No, they're great.
I love it.
And throw out the fact that they gave Deshaun Watson all this money. That's a bad, horrific, horrible decision. Number 2, though, Andrew Berry is their GM, the youngest GM in the NFL. Great. Cool. Why is this team throwing 37 times a game? Whatever happened to them running the football? They don't have any running backs. Where the fuck are their running backs? Where the fuck is the personnel in this team? They should be ashamed.
The injury to Kareem Hunt out. Yeah. I mean, when they're healthy up front, they should be moving piles because they've got good bodies up front. But a lot of that sack and not understanding coverage and understanding fronts, and that's why our protections and you're getting sacked and running into it. The Cleveland Browns, they're one at the beginning of the show when JB brought it up, Jeff. They're a disappointing watch because they do have good defense. And the fan base, for years, the fan base deserves better. And unfortunately, 230 million reasons why, or 220, whatever it is, why you're not getting what you want to get. It's not just Deshaun, but your team about as good as the guy will take you. And your quarterback, and right now he's playing just like a guy, man.
Another reason they don't win. You look at teams that throw the ball a lot. There's a common theme with a lot of the teams that throw the ball the most in the NFL. Chicago, Cleveland, Denver, Houston, the Giants, Vegas. All those teams are bad so far.
You hide deficiencies. You think you can make it right. That's exactly. And you lack physicality, which is not the way you win a lot of games. You can win a few, but you can't sustain tough play by doing that. You want to talk about it? I'm a lifelong Raider fan. This is a weird game. I'm taking the Raiders to win the game outright. I think the Raiders.
Yeah, this is a wild number to me. I can't tell you why the Browns should not be a favorite at all right now. They just shouldn't, especially a road favorite. Raiders are dealing with a bunch of injuries though, and they look like a mass casualty unit. No Devontae Adams today. Max Crosby didn't practice Friday. Divine Diablo is out. Their linebacker, Marcus Adams.
That's why the Raiders will win, right? Because all this, and they got their ass kicked. If they're not embarrassed, they should be. I can tell you that.
I've always said, guys, and this might be a surprise to a lot of you, but I've been doing this a long time. When it comes to the NFL, the NBA, I just don't care that much about injuries. I know a lot of people will. It just means next man up. Look, there are certain injuries that are paramount, right? If Patrick Mahomes isn't playing, then that's important. But like certain a linebacker here or there, like it's just not that important to me. So yeah, I don't care much. I still think they win the Raiders at home. I like them here.
Agreed.
Final game at the 4:00 level, Chiefs Chargers. And I told you what I think will happen here. I don't care much about the side. I think the Chiefs will bounce back. That said, I'm not a big fan of laying points with Mahomes a lot of the time, especially over a touchdown. They always play a lot of close games. I think the under's the play here, 42. I don't think Herbert's healthy. We know he's not healthy. If this game is 24-7 with 10 minutes to go, it's just going to be run from the Chargers. They're a run-heavy offense to begin with. without Pacheco, I think the Chiefs will still move the ball, but can they? Travis Kelce looks lost. He looks like he's on another planet. You're going to get a lot of Carson Steele up the middle for 1 or 2 yards. I think Rice could have a big game, but if you bracket him, then what? This is this game screams 24-13, 17-10. I think it's an under game.
Yeah, and this is one that I'm so with the banged up and injuries and how healthy is Herbert. In the last 2 games, Mahomes, speaking of teams that don't have to throw much, 217 yards and then like 160 yards 2 weeks ago. They're winning it other ways right now. He's making plays when necessary. I'm going to take a flyer on this one, Jeff, meaning a flyer like a flyer lie. I'm going to say that the Chargers keep it closer than that 7 points.
Here's the problem, though, and this is why,
especially since it's in Los Angeles.
And I just mentioned how injuries aren't that important to me, but here's the issue: the Chargers I like on defense, but I love Joey Bosa. He's out.
Yeah, that's my biggest issue of the game. Right, go ahead.
And Derwin James is out as well. I like him a lot. So there's big names out. Will it matter much? And look, I've said before, I trust the Chargers now. They're going to take the air out of the ball. They're going to run the football. And I agree. 7.5 seems a little too high.
Wouldn't you think? I mean, if it was 23-17, it wouldn't shock you, would it, Jeff?
No.
Yeah. So, Kansas City's the better team. I just think Harbaugh's teams know how to win around, hang around ugly. And I think that's the kind of game you're going to get. And Kansas City's offense seems to take a while. And Kelsey's got 8 catches, no touchdowns so far this year. Either he explodes today or there's a trend here. I think the Chargers are going to keep it close. Kansas City's going to win the game, but I don't think they're going to curb stomp, take the Chargers woodshed. I think it's going to be closer than you think. I
think the bookmakers put 7 out there as a thought of Herbert wasn't going to play, and now he's playing. This ain't going to close 7-7. This will close. Keep an
eye on that line. Agreed. I think that's going down. Don't you, Jeff?
I would have put it right now, if I'm at the line, I would have put it 5.5.
Right.
I think that's perfect for a road favorite for I think the Chiefs absolutely should be a favorite. I don't think they should be above 7 though. That's too. I don't think it should be above 6, quite honestly. Also throw in Chargers are 3-0 to the under this year so far. They've just been a good under team.
Sounds like a Harbaugh team, doesn't it?
Yes.
Play close and get a play in the end, no doubt.
Absolutely. Let's do one more game. And by the way, shout out to everybody watching. Got like 600 in here live. Hit that like button. Thanks, everybody. A lot of donations today. That's nice. Good for the channel. If you have any comments or questions, we'll try to get to it. We have about 3 more minutes. We're going to hang here. We'll do one more game. 8:20. Sean, last week, one of my favorite plays on this very show was the Cowboys-Ravens over the total. And the Cowboys were able to get it over. Ravens did enough to get it over. Bills-Ravens tonight, totals 46.5. Give me the over. Bills struggle against the run, can't stop the run. You're going to get a hard dose of Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. That'll open up the passing for the Ravens. Ravens finally get off the schneid. Would it surprise you to know they have the worst pass defense in the NFL right now? That does not bode well against Josh Allen. This is going to be a fun game to me. I had it like 30-23, 31-24, something like that. Over 46.5. I want to get in on it now. Something tells me this close is closer to like 48. I think this is a fun football game.
I can't wait to see it. And who's going to win in your mind, Jeff? Forget the gambling side. If you're just a fan, who you like?
Yeah, I would. If I was betting this, I would go with the Baltimore Ravens. Anything under 3, I think you're getting it. I would have made this number 3. Baltimore -3.
Yep.
Buffalo is playing really well. But again, give me the team that can run the football a little bit. Josh Allen, he's been great. Probably the MVP right now. I would imagine.
Yep.
I lean Ravens, but I like points.
Yeah. I think the Ravens are going to win the game, and I do, and I like Baltimore in this game as well. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored. I saw what I'm going to normally see in Baltimore. Lamar Jackson making some plays with his feet. Derrick Henry got into the act last week. That's who they want to be. I don't see them getting to 1-3. And while I'm so impressed with Buffalo, that's a tough place to go play. Josh Allen will keep him in. It's a hell of a game. Won't surprise me either team wins, but I think we're going to start to see Baltimore round into a little bit of form right now. Make a few more plays. Give me Baltimore in a fun game, maybe the kind of ending you see with Alabama, Georgia last night. The difference won't be, but the fourth quarter where it's back and forth, Yeah, I can see that being the case. I think Baltimore gets to 2-2. Hell, I almost took them as my lock of the week, but I didn't, which I'll quickly get to that real quick, Jeff. I got Cincinnati as my lock of the week. I know that people are saying, wait, the way they're playing 0-3, that's exactly why. And my second lock of the week would have been the San Francisco 49ers at home, but I'm going with the Bengals as the lock of the week over Carolina on the road.
Yeah, I will throw in. I like this game. This is a strong play over the total 46.5. I also like the Jags at plus. I got them 6. It's 5.5. I like that as well. I will throw in, just to kind of throw a cherry on top with this game. These two teams, Buffalo and Baltimore, 1st and 4th in the NFL in yards per play, both over 6 yards a play. Buffalo is elite in the red zone and scoring touchdowns as well, 77%. Baltimore's top 10 as well. That's big when you have a total. You need 7, not 3. You're not going to hit overs with 3 points. That will do it, folks. That's all the
Baltimore-Buffalo game. Both quarterbacks can destroy you. I might have got a little bit hyperbolic when I said Jaden Daniels and Kyler Murray with the excitement at the core, the two-dimensional part of the quarterbacks. But the best quarterback matchup is this one because they are also two-dimensional with Josh Allen and with Lamar Jackson. I didn't want to leave that. I kind of put that as an outlier. That's like saying the GOAT, Michael Jordan. You always know he's in that conversation. But we got those two. We got some exciting young quarterback matchups. And these veterans, too, with Lamar and Josh, it's going to be a blast to watch.
Well, he's not in a competition. Michael Jordan is the best basketball player ever.
Oh, yeah. But I'm talking about the argument. You know, that's why, for me, the outlier, whenever we talk about the best ever, I always say, okay, aside from Michael Jordan, that's it. Aside from Tom Brady at quarterback, unless you got an argument with Montana or Marino. But this game, we've got a bunch of good quarterback matchups. And like I said, I can't wait to see Daniels and Kyler get after it. But this Sunday night game is a good way to get into our Monday with those two quarterbacks and teams getting after it. And
yeah,
great job by you. Sounds like you're pretty confident in a lot of the stuff you're doing this week, which is every week, and you crush it. So
thank you, brother. Yeah, no, I'm very hype about these games. Should be a fun day as always. Thanks everybody for watching. We appreciate it. I know it's not the same without JB, or a lot of people saying he didn't show up because of Colorado. He was here earlier. Slow down. He'll be on live. You can talk to him tomorrow. That they'll talk about that game and everything more. It was fun doing this with Sean today, talking a little quarterback play and how it was to live in the 70s. Everybody enjoy the games. Thank you for watching. And we'll see you next time.
Appreciate it, guys. Jeff, great stuff, brother. Thank you.
And thanks to Bailey behind the scenes. We appreciate it. We'll see you all next week. Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
The last chance cube. Let's go. And I just cannot wait to bring over 60 years of knowledge and experience to not only the novice football fan, Sean, but to the veteran football coach as well.
You love it. You better live it, drink it, eat it, smoke it, and then every now and again wake up with it laying next to you.
The premier football coaching show on the internet.
I've looked